this week's highlight, we'll take a look at the latest developments on qualified domestic institutional investors, or QDII products in China. Also, the Lord Mayor of London shares his views with us on China's financial markets. The State Administration of Foreign Exchange has recently raised the fund quota for qualified domestic institutional investors, or QDII, to nearly 20 billion yuan. And the latest QDII fund products in China have received the largest ever application volume, 4 times that available. This week, Cai Jue checks out the difference in popularity between QDII products issued by fund companies and those issued by banks.
A 3 million yuan QDII fund product was recently sold out in one day, receiving nearly 2 million applications, and more than 112 billion yuan was tied up during bidding for the product. However, QDII products issued by banks during the same period were sold for less than 8 billion yuan and took nearly 1 month to sell.
The minimum purchase volume is key for differentiating our product from those issued by banks. Our minimum level is set at 10,000 yuan, and on average we see 40 to 50,000 yuan per application, while banks require 300,000 yuan per person at least.
The popularity of fund products is also driven by the equity ratio in the portfolio. QDII products issued by fund companies can currently have 60 to 100% equity content, but banks are restricted by the China Banking Regulatory Commission and can only have a 50% equity ratio in their QDII products.
According to similar products from our overseas partners, the return rate for the last 5 years is around 30% annually, but the risk increases with the return. As we have more varied investment destinations, there is more uncertainty in the return.
Bank QDII products can currently only invest in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and the target return ratio is around 10%. According to our current survey, the rate of return is still one of the top concerns for investors, and another concern is the diversification of the portfolio over different markets to lower the risk. For this reason, bank QDII products are viewed as safer than those issued by fund companies. Some bank QDII products have a time restriction, so they cannot be cashed in within a certain length of time, such as 1 year. For fund companies' products, customers can sell whenever they like after the stock building period.
The time restrictions are very positive for fund management. If the products can be cashed back at any time, the fund managers have to carry out some short-term arbitrage to ensure a certain amount of capital is always at hand. But fund managers should usually aim at medium and long-term investment.
She suggests investors hold QDII products for a longer evaluation period, at least 1 year, to see their performance. And to avoid spending too much on management charges, for investors with less than 1 million to spend, QDII products are not recommended. They should rather concentrate on the more familiar domestic market in China. Cai Jue for BizWatch.
For further analysis on China's financial market development from a global perspective, we talked to Alderman John Studdard, Lord Mayor of the City of London, during his recent visit to Shanghai. He told us about the goals of his China visit and shared his ideas on how Shanghai can move up as an international financial center.
One key agenda of your visit this time to China is to introduce more open markets to the country. And what messages have you got from your recent talk to Chinese officials and entrepreneurs over the past few days?
We've talked during our visit to Shanghai about opening up the market more in the area of fund management and securities brokerage, because only in this way can the stock exchange fully develop and a market for equities and bonds. At the moment, here in Shanghai, I'm afraid there's too much speculation in the stock market, and therefore there's a need for greater fund management.
Given the recently introduced QDII program and China's abundant foreign exchange reserve amounting to about $1.4 trillion, how do you see the future collaboration between China and the City of London that you're representing?
Well, the City of London accounts for about 35% of the world's trade in terms of foreign currency trading, euro bonds. In some cases, it's even more than that. In metals trading, it's as much as 90% of the world's metals are traded through London, and similarly in carbon emissions too. So if you're investing money, you need to have a presence in London. You need to invest quite a lot through London. Now, that's not just investing it in the UK economy. London has the expertise when it comes to investing in the rest of Europe and in Mexico and Brazil and the African countries. There is so much knowledge and experience there, and therefore any country which has surplus funds, and China is now in that category, should have a very strong presence in London.
How many Chinese companies are currently investing or getting listed in the London Stock Exchange?
We now have 61 Chinese companies which are listed on the AIM market, which is the junior market for emerging companies, those companies without a track record who have good prospects for the future. Traditionally, of course, larger Chinese companies have listed in Hong Kong and in New York. But New York is becoming less popular these days because of the very heavy regulatory restrictions, in particular following the passing of the Sarbanes-Oxley legislation. In London, we have a form of regulation based on the assessment of risks, and that's much more flexible than the US system, which is heavily rules-oriented. And that's why so much business is now being transferred from New York to London. So for a large Chinese company, I would recommend certainly a listing here in Shanghai. That's very necessary. But then also a separate listing, a dual listing in London, perhaps through the global depository receipts mechanism. And then you get more liquidity in the market for the shares.
So you've mentioned one of the obstacles of going out for many of the Chinese companies is actually lack of financial talents due to restrictions on training bodies. So how serious is the problem at this stage to your understanding?
Well, China is short of professional skilled people. Indeed, most countries around the world are very short. Take Vietnam, for example. They only have 1,200 qualified accountants in the whole country. So this is a global problem, the shortage of professional skills. And this year, during my mayoralty, I have focused on trying to promote professional qualifications and business education around the world. The world's financial houses are now global. Everything is interrelated. What happens in one country has a very dramatic effect on other countries as well. So there's a need to increase the number of professionals in each country, including China.
So what kind of measures do you think the government should adopt in order to enhance the training of financial talent?
One measure would be to permit the professional institutes, who are unincorporated bodies, they're not-for-profit organizations, to allow them very freely to establish offices here in China. That then, if they're given an even greater presence, they will be able to offer these qualifications much easier. The second suggestion is to encourage Chinese universities like Sufi and Nankai University and others in the major cities to form alliances with these professional institutes in order to offer training in insurance broking, in shipbroking, in valuation, in property management, as well as in accountancy, and to publicize the benefits of a professional qualification even more.
During the Lord Mayor's visit to Shanghai, ACCA, the UK-based global professional accountancy body, signed agreements with local universities on training collaboration.